Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to my channel, to my Wonderland, and to our coffee times together. And today I have for you another movie review. We have Crawl.
It's coffee time.
So this past weekend, this Saturday, we wanted to go to the movies and we were debating, because we wanted to watch it chapter 2 again, and then we tried to make a double feature sometimes when we go to the movies so that, we can enjoy a full evening of movies in the theater. And Crawl was running at 11:50 p.m. because I think it's the last cinema that has this movie because it's already out of the cinema, and we decided to give it a shot. I didn't go there with high expectations or anything. This is one of the movies that had a very long trailer that kind of showed you a lot, but anyways, I decided to sit for you guys and tell you a little bit my thoughts on the movie. So this is a 2019 disaster slash monster horror movie, and it is based on a very simple story. There is this huge hurricane, and it is one that is level 5, and the whole area needs to be evacuated, and the whole water starts to float into this town, and a daughter gets trapped with her dad in a house, and they realize that the alligators are loose on the hunt. We're living in an era where the monster movies are not so much hyped anymore, except for the new Godzilla that a lot of people was really excited about, but we see now more escape rooms, slashers, and things like this in the cinema, haunted houses, than monster movies. They had their time. I guess we're all a little bit tired of all those Sharknado movies. But this movie, they tried to go a little bit more into the serious. They tried to, make a serious movie, and it partly worked, but it is more just like a one-time fun watch. I did appreciate the tension that was really well done, but there were many moments in the movie that were not plausible or believable at all, that kind of pull you out of the story and of the movie. The main plot is basically you're following this girl called Hailey, and she is very focused on her swimming. When she was a kid, her dad trained her really hard to be always number one, and with the years she has not developed a really good relationship with her father, until one day Beth, her older sister, calls her to let her know that there is a warning of a hurricane in category 5 coming their way and that she needs to leave. However, Hailey tries to reach her dad, and because she cannot reach him via phone, decides to be reckless, ignore the police and everybody warning her, and she just goes to her father's house to find him. And she does find him, but he's trapped in the basement, and they both end up trapped there in the crawling space. And that is when they realize, as the waters come up, that there are alligators on the loose. Regarding the actors and the acting in this movie, you are mainly following Hailey and her dad Dave and the dog Sugar. Those are our main characters, and everybody else is kind of secondary. And the problem that I had with them is that most of the time I was not feeling that they were really scared for their lives. That's why I wasn't even worried, because I didn't feel like they were really scared. I could see them trying, but I didn't get the feeling that they were really scared. And also another thing that I had was that when Hailey started talking to her dad in the basement, when she found him, I did not believe that was father-daughter. Like, something was off. I don't know if it's because in the movie they are supposed to be, not in speaking terms with each other, or if it's because the actors just didn't have that chemistry on set, because I just didn't believe that was her father. I had a hard time believing that, so that was my concern when it comes to the acting. Even though the girl that plays Haley did a good job with a lot of scenes, and I did love all the parts where she was, you know, being this badass fighter. So I really did appreciate those scenes. Things that I loved about this movie, I really appreciated all the gore that was done with practical effects, and there were some moments where you were like, ouch, that must have hurt, and they were pretty good moments. I really loved them. And I also loved the alligators. They were really well done. Nothing to do with these older movies that involve alligators that were not that great done. This was really good CGI. It was really good. You did believe that those were alligators, and you know, I really appreciated that. I also love the pacing of the movie. There was always something happening. The movie went super fast. I also really appreciated the tension. They did a really good job to keep the tension for a whole scene going. It never got boring, like you were, you know, feeling that tension of the scene. However, I didn't like that it was not really believable when it comes to the fights with the alligators and things like that. It is in a way a cheesy movie, and their relationship between father-daughter becomes a little bit kind of cheesy and half believable for me. So this is something that I didn't like that much. But like I said, I really love the pacing and the tension in the movie, and the jump scares were justified. There might have been one or two too many, but I did like them. I didn't think they were, you know, apart from one or two that were, you know, done really on purpose, the other ones were actually pretty nice. And not next to me, but next to Jeff, there was this big guy that apparently every time there was a jump scare, he would go. So that was funny. I didn't get like that. Normally jump scares don't scare me to that point. You know, it's just jump scares can be there just to cause a physical reaction from you, and other times they make sense. So I think in this movie 70% of the jump scares made sense, and the other 30% were just there to cause an easy reaction. But still, I think they did a great job. Now I'm gonna go to a little bit of spoiler part. So if you have not watched the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, now it's the time to leave and come back when you've already watched this movie, because it is a fun watch. Even though I might be sounding a little bit critical about it, I actually did enjoy it, had a good time. It was fun, it was fast-paced, and I would still recommend everybody to give it a watch. So let's go to the spoiler part. First of all, I just cannot believe that her and her dad didn't die, okay? I obviously didn't want the dog Sugar to die, so I was really happy that the dog did not die, and they broke that cliche of the dog always dies in these kinds of movies. But the dad got bitten like 3 times. When she finds him, he already has a bite and he's unconscious. He drowns, and then you think he's done, you know, and you're sad and you're kind of feeling with her. But then he comes back to life, man, and I was like, why are you doing this? I felt a little bit like, spoiler alert for episode 8 from Star Wars, I felt like that moment when Leia left the ship, the spaceship, and was floating and you thought she was dead, and I was feeling all the feels, and I thought they did such a good job to let Carrie Fisher go, because, you know, she had passed away. And then when she opened her eyes and she went back to the spaceship, man, I was so mad. So I kind of felt like that, like they're giving you this scene where, you know, she's fighting to save her dad, and he's been in the water for a little bit too long, and when she pulls him up, it's too late, he's drowned. And I was like, this is done well, it's, you know, it's believable, it's what it's supposed to be. But then he comes back to life, and I was like, man. And also he got bitten, I believe, on the leg, and you can see his bone basically, and he fixes it himself, and he can walk without any problems and carry the dog and everything, which I don't know. And also he gets bitten by another gator, and they literally pull his arm off. Like you can see here how the bone break here in the middle, and that was a great scene, great moment. And I thought that was gonna be it, but no, he can fix it too. He just puts something tight around his you know, stump, and he just keeps going with a broken bone in the leg, a missing arm, a bite here that he had before, nearly drowned, but it's okay, we keep going. Like, it was just not realistic. Like, he should have died. Same goes with her. She also got bitten, I think, 3 times. And you're like, and she didn't even get any bone fractured or any amputated arm or leg, which is questionable once an alligator bites you. But you know, I didn't feel like she was in pain at all after all of these bites. She didn't look like she was in pain or that it was harder for her to swim fast. So all of these was kind of not believable at all. Also, some decisions they were making were really stupid. They are in the house and they want to go, but everything is completely floated, and she's like, oh, let's take the car. Like, bitch, the car where? This is basically floated. It's basically a sea out there. And there's another scene where she is trying to crawl to get the mobile phone, and she gets to the phone, she calls 911, and then 2 gators appear. She leaves the phone because it's not like she has not risked her life to get to the phone, and she goes to hiding again. And I'm like, okay, I thought that the purpose of putting your life in danger was to get to the phone and actually take it with you, but who am I to judge? So it was a lot like that, and I was like, oh my god, this is like, it doesn't make sense. It's just not plausible, and it kind of makes you feel like you already know the ending, because you're like, nobody's gonna die here, because I mean, honestly, I did love the gore, though, in everybody else that was killed by the alligators. Basically everybody but Haley and her dad were just there as fresh meat for the alligators and to give the viewers some nice gory deaths, and I did appreciate that, though. I did appreciate that. And the movie was not just based on the whole kind of, you know, storm, hurricane, and the alligators, but it was also kind of to let us see the relationship between father and daughter, and how in this kind of critical situation they find a way back to each other, which is the cheesy part kind of the story. And I guess that's why they wanted the father to survive despite him, you know, being like so beaten up. And one other thing that I really loved about this movie is that it's cool that you start on the basement, crawling there, and then you start leveling up on the house, and then they go to the first you know, floor, and then they go to the second floor, and then they go to the attic, and they end up in the ceiling. I think that was really cool. It was kind of like a maze in a way, and I thought that was really well done. And like I said, it's a movie where basically 90% of the movie is inside the house, and it doesn't feel boring, it doesn't feel dragging. It's very nice, fast-paced, and there's always something going on, and you're really enjoying yourself. It's a lot of fun. So, you know, honestly, I enjoyed this movie way more than I enjoyed Annabelle 3, and I thought Annabelle 3 I was gonna love more, but it was just bad. It was boring and way too easy jump scares. Whereas this movie, I went there with no expectations, and it was a lot of fun to watch. So if you like this movie, or if you still have not watched it, I think it's for people that love movies like Jaws, The Meg, 47 meters down, all these kind of things. And I think it's, from the Gators movie, one of the best ones, if not the best, because the alligators were done really well, the CG was on point, and it was a lot of fun. Have I said like 10,000 times that it was a lot of fun? Yes, I have. But it, you know, it's just to stress that despite me saying negative things about the movie, there were also positive things, and it's definitely worth a watch. I'm gonna give this movie a 6 out of 10 because it did what it was supposed to do. It entertained, it was fun, it was all the time giving you action, there were deaths, it was gory. I love the practical effects, and I love the pacing, I love the tension. I love that the house felt like a maze that they had to go through to survive. but I have to take many points off because it's not plausible. The end was just too barf, and yeah, that's why. But I still think it was a good movie. So this was my review on the movie Crawl. I hope that you enjoyed the review. Let me know down below your thoughts on the movie. Did you enjoy it? What did you think about it? Let me know down below. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. Please give the video a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also remember to hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time that I upload a video. If you want to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, the links to those social media can be found in the description box down below. And I'll see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!